Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Magic Arena had a huge update yesterday. Tried to do some recording on it. I apologize for being a day late. I didn't end up with anything usable at the end of the evening. But we have Through the omenpaths sneakily dropped. No marketing, no advance notice, just people figuring it out through being able to craft, I guess. Um, all of these cards are now craftable, some great ads. So modern Esper Flicker is now wholly on Arena. Noble Hierarch adding in for Brawl, very powerful effect. Douthie Voidwalker for the historic and timeless players. Some very, very good ads. The one that we care the most about is the Crumbling Vestige. Of course, it's the major piece that Pioneer Scapeshift has been missing. I do wish that they would not wait until relevancy is proven, especially for formats like Brawl and for Brewers and the simple fact that Arena operates on an MMR ladder system. It's just so good for people being able to brew to the respective environment that they're playing. But additionally, we released Crumbling Vestige today for Pioneer. This card has become a staple in Pioneer Scapeshift decks, so we're adding it now that it has proven its relevance in the competitive metagame. Very exciting stuff. I am super stoked to be able to jam Crumbling Vestiges and see if my suspicions around the appropriate numbers are correct. But we are going to be starting with 4 copies. So we can pop over into MTGA here. And we see my first pass at Vestige. You can tell the deck that I play the most of by far. Um, I'm, of course, starting with 4 Crumbling Vestiges. If we shuffle things around just a little bit, then we can see what we're working with here. So I like having a significant amount of lands that offer utility, as well as a significant amount of lands that are just here for producing mana, while going as deep on the combo package as necessary. So we have our win conditions locked into Lush Oasis and Ipnu Rivulet here. We're not messing around with Thassa's Oracle. We're just trying to condense away into land slots because one of the main ways we lose is by not drawing enough lands. So condensing our win conditions into our land slots hopefully helps with that a little bit, and then that way we get to play more effects like Stock Up and Consult the Star Charts instead of burning non-land slots on Thassa's Oracle. Crumbling Vestige, of course, being quite powerful with the Wandering Minstrel, going turn 2 Minstrel, turn 3 Vestige into Scapeshift. If you have a Bear or an Analyst in your hand, then the game should be over. Um, but Crumbling Vestige also has the largest impact on Nissa. I had been off Nissa, but we're back on Nissa. Nissa's my girl. She's very, very good. Um, in a situation like this, if you have no untap effect, you've got a bear in your hand, you just need to develop the bear and then see where you get. You can 4 landscape shift, Nissa, get 2 Crumbling Vestiges. That's going to be your 6 mana to cast the bear. Um, the Nissa loops also get much better here. An interesting thing that I would like to track is whether or not Crumbling Vestige invalidates Aftermath Analyst. Because we can Nissa, we can Scapeshift and get an Archway and an Otawara, as well as at least 2 Lotus Fields. And then if we're going to have the mana to play the bear after that, then we simply sacrifice the lands, play the bear, Otawara back the bear, after continuously recurring the Otawara with the Arid Archway, sacrificing the Arid Archway and Lotus Fields and other lands. With 2 Lotus Fields, we're able to get pretty deep. With 3, we're basically deterministic for our 8 mana loop. 2 for the Otawara, 6 for the bear, to be able to mill through our deck and be able to present infinite Lush Oases. Um, Aftermath Analyst, however, milling fewer cards makes it a lot harder to go deep with very few Lotus Fields. And by very few, I mean like 3 or 4. It is a 9 mana loop, because we have 6 on the Aftermath Analyst and then 3 on the Takenuma, which demands a whole new Lotus Field. Instead of 4 being deterministically infinite, we need 5. If we mill less lands with the Aftermath Analyst, we're less likely to be able to incidentally find lands to bring in with the Nissa in order to keep developing mana and progress our game forward. So, interesting thing I want to be paying attention to is whether or not Aftermath Analyst is like kind of mopey too often, and if I just don't want to be messing around with it. The other experimental factor here I have is consult star charts, just trying to see which one I like better. So far, Stock Up has been much better than Consult. Specifically in the blue-white matchup, Consult has looked very, very good. But elsewhere, 2 mana Anticipate, 2 mana Look at 2, pick 1. It plays a little bit better than Stock Up against the red deck, but overall, it's just not quite hitting the spot I wanted to hit. Sideboard, quite standard. I've moved over to Leyline of Sanctity. Whether 1, 3, or 4 Leylines is correct, I think that's an emotional thing. Playing 1 Leyline is pretty sweet because sometimes you have it, most of the time you won't, but you're not going to draw into a bunch of Leylines. 4 Leylines, you're going to draw into a bunch of them more often. The math works out reasonable on 3, but it's obviously quite good on 4 to be able to start with your Leyline against Mono Black, which has been the most successful deck of the last probably 2 weeks now. Heritage Reclamations, I still think it's best in slot. It really, really plays well against Greasefang. If you're having trouble with the Greasefang matchup, slam 3 or 4 of these in the sideboard. You're probably going to be fine. Floodmaws, unsure of exact numbers. Tiebinders, probably 2, maybe 3, depending on how much control specifically is there in the metagame. And then I still like my one of Tireless Tracker. Ether Gusts, obviously, for the red decks. There's a few random decks that it also plays quite well against, like Creativity. Just trying to buy yourself that 1 extra turn, convince the opponent to tap out, and then get you the time you need to move forward for a win. But let's jump into some games here. Thanks so much. All right, sitting in queue, we're going to, as usual, hope for blue-white because I think that's the most interesting matchup. But I'd be equally happy with a Greasefang or a 5-color Niv or maybe even an Angels. Angels would probably be a good matchup to highlight the strengths of Crumbling Vestige because there is very little interaction they can do. We're just trying to be on the Goldfish plan, and the Goldfish plan is, I think it's where I expect the Crumbling Vestige to play the best, allowing more outs to combo, but also more high roll potential in the lands. We get to be on the play. It's perfectly ideal. We have a Splunking in our hand, which we're basically always keeping. Splunking being the best card in the deck really provides a good heuristic for whether or not a hand is keepable. Do you have Splunking? Can you make green mana to play it? If so, you can do a lot worse than keeping a hand with Splunking in it. But we're just going to play with lands as close to on color as we can. And I'm confused. We're going to see what he does before we fire off this Consult. I'm not sure what's going on here. Oh, water is nice. It is Angels. Okay, so we're looking for a Goldfish here. Nissa is not going to be better than the Splunking. Let's make green. Play the Splunking. Crumbling Vestige, like, incidentally, like, marginally increasing the blue count is kind of nice. I'm not going to play the Lotus Field here, because if I play it, then I only have 2 lands. I guess it does cast Scapeshift, but then I can't easily... Actually, no. Yeah, we're going to put it in play. I like this better, actually. So we're going to put this in play. We have the Scapeshift to sacrifice it later, but this way we get to get the Nissa into play as well. And now we can Scapeshift for a Lotus Field and a Port of Carfell. And then Nissa is going to generate the mana to cast this Aftermath Analyst and use it. But we would definitely be shaping up for a lot of mana, but not necessarily a win. Very likely, though, we can kick a Consult and cast whatever the Nissa is going to flip us into. Well, that's very strange. I don't think this deck really has anything for 3 mana that can shut us down here. So let's start here. So if the response is kill the Splunking, then I don't know what we do. If the response is play the Splunking, then we are in for a very difficult time. Yeah, we're in for a very difficult time, so let's get ourselves a hedge maze. Keep that on top. No, we'll put it in the graveyard for a future port. We're gonna make a blue mana here. We're gonna sacrifice these two. We're gonna keep the Lotus Field because we want more mana later. I don't really want to reduce the mana that I have access to. And now it's just whether or not I get a port here. Or an Archway. I think we get an Archway and a Vestige. Because now, I get to pick this up. Make a green. Make a green. Make a blue. Play this as our land for turn. Make a green. Make a blue. And then we get to play the bear. Out in the yard, green, green, blue, green, blue, green, 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 green. We're gonna sacrifice 2 Crumbling Vestiges. And we're gonna play this. We're gonna sack it. And you need a whole bunch more mana. Yeah. So like Crumbling Vestige there look really, really good. Without Vestiges in the deck, we would not have been able to go nearly that deep. Yeah, that was very cool. His Analyst here is... We didn't even get to see all the cards that Analyst milled, I think. But Analyst is going to be getting us back 7 more mana, which is going to be 2 kick to consult the star charts. And then our opponent can't kill us on their turn. And then if we can't win after double kick to consult for 8, then I would be shocked. So Angels, no discard. I'm not interested in Leyline of Sanctity for things like Tormod's Crypt, and especially not a just-in-case thing. This is not going to be a just-in-case cards. Like, if we want a just-in-case card, we're going to keep the Stockhouse in. What we do need to prepare for is Rest in Peace. That's the thing that's going to matter the most by far. I'm not the biggest fan of Tiebinder in this matchup because, like, you don't really need it. Like, most of the time you can do basically whatever you want. We're going to trim around the edges on the combo just a little bit here. And we'll cut a Grazer. Being on the draw, we do want to steal the play with the Grazer, but it's not absolutely necessary. Most of the time they're gunning for a turn, like, usually 5 kill, sometimes turn 4, but usually turn 5. If we had a second Grazer, this hand would be nuts. But as it is, we are going to keep this. And we're not going to play the Grazer here. So here, we're going to play the Vestige so that we can play the Minstrel. That's fine. And then the plan with the Grazer is to eventually use it as a ritual later. But the Minstrel does a lot of cool things like discounting the Boseiju to blow this up. But we do, of course, run into the all-colorless land problem, which the Grazer hopefully helps us out with. Yep. So I don't want to give him another mana for this. I basically want to Grazer to put in the Lotus Field on the turn that I'm killing them. But I might actually just Grazer in the Archway here. Yeah, I think that works pretty well. So we're going to play this. Vestige works through Damping Sphere. Another huge perk. Okay, so we're going to hit control here. Okay, so we can put this into play. We can bounce. We can't get the other land to get the Lotus Field into play. Yeah, so we're gonna put this in. We're gonna float. Pick this up. Turn off full control. And we will give them another mana. They can't kill us on this next turn. We probably can't kill them on our next turn either, because all of our green mana is tied up in this Lotus Field. This is one of my concerns with Vestige, is the all colorless land problem. And it is something that's going to happen a reasonable amount of the time. Seven. So if you can play 2 cards, which you probably can because we gave him a land. New Damping Sphere is pretty bad. Okay, so we currently cannot make green mana. But their hand is not good. Well, team, sometimes this is just what you sign up for. Yeah, so the second Damping Sphere is, it can be a challenge. This list is 2 Besejus, and that's another thing about the Crumbling Vestige. It's another negative, is being able to maximize the... Okay, we're finally in danger. Like being able to maximize the amount of like colored producing lands, but also the utility lands that you get. Man, this is a very unfortunate draw. Yeah, we can... I'll block out, we're dead. And like, sometimes it's going to happen, it's fine. Opponent had 2 Damping Spheres, and we brought in all of the answers that we could. We had one in our opener, we used it. Let's go to the next. Trimming down additionally on grazers is probably... Trimming down on grazers here might be better. Adding an analyst over a grazer while we're on the play. But thinking too hard on sideboarding, I feel, gets people in trouble more often than it helps. This sounds great. We have the best card in the deck. We've got something to try to find an answer for whatever nonsense they've decided to do. And then for their Skyclave, we have a redundancy on our untapped effects. Whoa! Okay, just trying to put us off curve, that's fine. I have never seen a black splash out of this deck. What world do we live in, man? We see 0 black lands, and now we see 2. I thought we only saw green lands in the first 2 games. I am very confused. Okay, so we need 6 mana for the bear, which means we need 1 additional land. There's no castle here, no castle. And a Damping Sphere, okay. Okay, so he has the Damping Sphere. Scapeshift for castle is not going to be good here. Now we just need non-land cards. Yeah. The nice thing about draws like this is they're not trying to kill us, right? So like they spent 2 turns thought seizing us, a 3rd turn playing a Damping Sphere. Like a Kaya's Restoration or a Collected Company is the only way they become threatening quickly. Having said that, that's probably what they're sitting on. But we're going to go black here, and we're going to Scapeshift. We're going to keep the Citadel in play, but we're going to Scapeshift for 4. And make sure that we can kill this Damping Sphere after we play a bear. I think that I want to get more lands in the graveyard for the bear, so we're going to grab these 2. And we don't need another port. I want to present an Echoing Deeps. I don't want a Lotus Field in the face of this, so we're going to go this one. Whoops. I was supposed to copy the port. That's fine. I think we'll keep another one just in case. Yeah, so now on our next turn we can play Hedge Maze. They can do something presumably powerful, but then we can play Bear. And we're probably okay. Yeah, like that doesn't matter. So like in this situation, probably, right? See, like this is the only way they become threatening. But probably our opponent has drawn 4 sideboard cards in the 7 cards that they've drawn this game. This is 5 life, or yeah, so it doesn't even make anything. So we'll play this, we'll be in a starting town. The Echoing Deeps needs to be mana 6. We're going to take a bunch, but overall we're going to be just fine, I think. Yeah, I think overall we're going to be just fine, because we can block 3, take 4, 7. Yeah, I have us just barely surviving. We're going to put additional lands in the graveyard here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want Echoing Deeps. It's probably best to just Hedge Maze. Now we just need any untap effect, of which there are 9 or 8, because we're down a Minstrel. Yeah, if there's, unless you don't realize that this has reach, there's no reason to do that. And fortunate draw, but how many cards have we looked at trying to find this, right? We've looked at a huge number of cards trying to get that. So we're quickly going to try to combo this down. And let's go get every land in our deck. Literally every land in our deck. There's no Echoing Deeps left. Sack, there's Lotus Field in the bin. Sack, they're at 23, they're at 43 cards. Yeah, let's keep this on the stack for a sec. Okay, figured it out. Yeah, so like utilizing the Hedge Mazes there to be able to look at 7 or 8 additional cards and just like bin 7 or 8 additional cards to find an untapper is like, that's key to playing this deck. But that's first match against Angels with Crumbling Vestige. I have played a few. Like I played some last night and had a very interesting match against Greasefang that unfortunately there were some recording issues and I lost game 3. I don't think it's beneficial to only upload the first 2 games and not have the outcome of the match published. That doesn't make sense to me. Um, but Lush Oasis is doing fine. You can get through the combo using Echoing Beeps to make additional combos, make it 3 damage a cycle. It is pretty important. Um, but yeah, give it a shot. Um, Crumbling Vestige entering as a common. You should have wildcards for it. Like the rare wildcards are the largest hurdle, but you should have common wildcards around. And if you don't have common wildcards around, then it's much easier to open a pack or two and get them than it is to open 5 or 8 packs, however many you need for. I don't know how card styles work, um, but much easier than it is to get the rare wild card. But anyways, this is my starting point. It feels very, very good. Exact numbers are on Grazers, Analysts, Vestiges. Consult the star charts. I'm uncertain. The more I play this deck and the more that mono black um, picks up, the more I'm liking additionals of these. I'm thinking about going to 4 stock ups and cutting one of the consults, but also one of the analysts to get myself there. But anyways, this has been all things Scapeshift. Exciting day. Y'all have a good night.